Kubernetes and CKAD tips number 26. In this, we will see how we can use config map to bring in all the values as our environment variable. We have seen how we can bring them individually one by one, and here we will see how we can load them all in as an environment variable in the pod inside a container. So we will see that in the same kubectl. So let me just come out of this, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go ahead and then modify the same pod definition, but this time I am going to add a different number. I'll say that I want to add 3. That's the name of the new container, and instead of this, what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna go ahead and delete all this line and add a different way of populating the environment variable. So you know that there is a config map called myconfig2, which basically holds 2 values, key 1 and key 2. What my intent is right now is to bring them all in as environment variable. So irrespective of how many environment variables I have in my config, all of them will be loaded. So if that is the case, then what I can do, I can say end from, okay, and then instead of the environment calling them one by one, I can say that hey, I want to do an end from, and then here I'm gonna say that I want to bring them from my config map, and then I need to say what is the ref of the config map, and the ref of the config map is the name of the config map, right? So from which I want to bring them in. So the name of the config map will be name my config2. Okay, so whichever config map has got more than one value, you can try with that to see if they are all coming in as an environment variable. Now remember one thing, one of the conventions of the environment variable is that environment variable has to be in the capital letters, right? So you need to make sure that you are creating the config map with the caps key name. Value can be anything, but the key name should be caps, just the convention, right? So if you have that now, right, this much only, right, you don't have to explicitly create each of the environment variable. So what you can do, you can just say that, hey, I want to create a pod using this cmpod.yaml, and there is definitely an error. So let me see the name here. What is the issue? So we'll just get inside the file again and see there must be some YAML alignment issue. Yeah, here it is. So we need to just put some space because it's part of the config map ref, right? Not in the same line. So we'll just come out here and then say I want to run this thing to create my nginx3. That is created kget pod nginx3, and you see that it's up and running. Kexec nginx3 minus id interactive terminal, and then I say run the shell command, and then I see that environment variable. Now if you notice here that both the key 1 and key 2 became part of the environment variable. So if I have more than 2 keys, all of them will come as an environment variable. So I don't really need to worry too much about, let's say, what all values I have, and if I have the same environment variable I need to my application, and then just the value is stored, they will all be loaded automatically, so you don't have to do it. So it's quite convenient way of doing things. So with this, I want to thank and then move to our next episode where we will see how we can load the config map as a volume mount.